What is going on, everyone? Welcome to today's live stream. Happy Sunday, happy Monday, depending on the time they're watching this today. Really excited to go ahead and be here on today's live stream. It's been a long time no see. So hopefully everything's set up better. Lighting's all good. We are actually heading back home in the next couple days. So really excited to go ahead and get back in action and get back to freaking on the grind, uploading as many videos, looking at these charts and looking at other ways to go ahead and grow back my portfolio. I did lose over $20,000 on Grok, unfortunately. I guess there was some sort of exploit with like the contract deployer, which caused Grok to go ahead and dump. So obviously some massive manipulation, but I think I could have also avoided that if I would have cut my losses and moved on a lot quicker instead of hoping and crossing my fingers that this thing was going to go ahead and reverse. I mean, overall, Grok had some very bullish indicators that this was going to go ahead and pump. But as usual, it's not always the case that, these indicators are going to go ahead and follow through. And, that was a result of it. So I kind of over leveraged myself. I didn't cut my losses. And as well, I guess the exploitation definitely did take a massive hit on my end. So, I mean, it is what it is. But what is going on, Jonathan? Hope you're having a great day today, bro. Hope you're having a good night, good morning, good afternoon. So let's go ahead and get the stream started. So yeah, right now my main focus is just going to go ahead and be back on the grind, uploading as much as possible. I mean, it is what it is. I ended up getting liquidated too yesterday on my Pepe 2 position. Remember how I told you I had about like $480 left? I doubled my money, got back into a trade, got stopped out. And this is the reason why I don't use freaking stop losses on meme tokens, because you're always going to get stopped out. That's the reality of the meme tokens. You're always going to go ahead and get stopped out when you're using stop losses. And that's why a lot of people are like, hey John, like, why don't you use freaking stop losses, man? You should be using stop losses. That's a little wild of you. And it's because yesterday was a reminder, because they freaking stop you out. They literally will push the price action down, especially because it's more volatile. They go ahead and push it down, and it'll literally pump back to the price that you knew it was going to go ahead and hit, right? So yesterday I did end up taking that $300 loss, and then I went back in, and then it got wrecked. So I got liquidated yesterday on Pepe 2. So officially right now I have zero trading funds. So I'm going to go ahead and have to rebuild back my portfolio. Luckily, the good thing about this, $20,000 that I lost, I started that account with 120 bucks. So it's not too bad. Realistically, I guess I only lost $120 of my own money, but I really wish I would have, out of that $20,000, I would have at least put like $5,000 or $10,000 on the side on a cold wallet where I wouldn't have to touch it. And then, if I would have lost 10 grand, that would have been better instead of losing $20,000. But I mean, it is what it is. Lessons learned, you know what I mean? I think I had a really good time these last few days in vacation. And I also learned a lot about the markets a little bit more, what I should go ahead and be doing moving forward. So it's been a very hectic month, I would go ahead and say, but also a month that I definitely learned a lot of lessons. So I hope a lot of you could go ahead and learn some of these lessons from me, and hopefully not get wrecked as much as myself, right? But as always, go ahead and support the channel by using my MEXC link down below. $20,000 in sign-up bonuses, no KYC, and literally takes less than 3 seconds to go ahead and create an account. Link down below, pinned. We're going to go ahead and talk about Pepe 2.0 pumping. I'm actually still pretty bullish on Pepe 2.0. As I mentioned, I currently don't have any positions on any cryptos at the moment until I go ahead and slowly rebuild my backs up once again. But I'm sure I will go ahead and come across some money, and then I'll be able to trade back again. So it's not too much of a problem. I think right now, if I could go ahead and take like a week and a half of just trading and just really focus on providing as much content for all of you and providing, TA, I think that's definitely going to go ahead and help me come up with a better, more cleaned mindset. So when I do go ahead and come across some money, I could go ahead and start entering these trades once again. So definitely excited to go ahead and be back. As I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and hop back on the grind. So let's go ahead and start off with Pepe 2.0, currently sitting at a 32.28 million market cap, $2 million of liquidity, 12.16 thousand holders, and about 668,000 of total volume on a decentralized exchange. This does look like a massive cup and handle pattern forming on Pepe 2.0. So it does look like we are getting ready for a massive breakout to the upside. So definitely be aware of that. Right now, we could go ahead and say we are having some sort of resistance around the 7.9 to the 8. Right now, I think with this volatility in the market, it's really good to go ahead and swing trade. Don't over leverage yourself, and most importantly, go ahead and take profits. That's one thing I wish I would have done personally when it came to Grok. and a lot of these other projects that I got liquidated on was taking profits. I wish I would have taken profits a little bit more sooner, because the markets are not the same as they were back in October. Back in October, when we started trading early on, and I showed you my portfolio of like $120 all the way up to 20 grand, it was a lot easier back then because not that many people were, jumping into crypto. The volatility wasn't fully there. So I was actually able to capitalize the momentum before it started, right? So I was able to capitalize on a momentum that wasn't still there. So when the momentum took off, my portfolio took off as well, right? So right now we're in a different side of the market. As I mentioned, I did begin just futures trading for literally, this is probably my first year. I really dove really deeply down into understanding how futures works. So and I've been learning a lot of new things every day, right? So it's a whole different ball game. It's definitely completely different. You have to go ahead and worry about liquidations, margin calls. You have to go ahead and understand how the leverage works. Like back then, in the early Octobers when we started, you were able to use 10-20x leverage and your liquidation wasn't as bad, and you were not even close to getting liquidated due to the fact that there wasn't a lot of manipulation and a lot of activity in the markets, right? So that's why using 20x leverage back then was actually a lot easier than using it now. Right now, using 10x leverage and above, it's really, really difficult just due to the fact that there's a lot of volatility, especially if you're jumping into a lot of these meme tokens, right? So you're more than likely going to go ahead and get wrecked if you're leverage trading right now with a lot of these meme tokens if you have a small account. So definitely right now the changes in the markets are different. I witnessed that. I've noticed that these last couple of weeks. I wasn't sure of it, but I have noticed that change, and for that reason I've never come across a market like this. You know what I mean? I understood the beginning of the market, but I didn't understand this kind of market. When the momentum starts coming in, when the greed starts coming in, there's a lot of volatility and there's a lot of ups and downs and a lot of FUD. And that's the time where you usually want to go ahead and enter a trade, make your profits, and you're out. As opposed to back in October, you're able to go ahead and enter a trade, hold on to your position for a few weeks, a few days, and not even have to worry about getting liquidated, right? Right now, it's like you hold a position for over a day. Like you have to be fearful of what's going to happen next with a lot of these meme tokens, especially because with Grok, for example, I was up literally $5,000 the day before, and then the next day I get fucking almost liquidated. You know what I mean? So it's for whatever reason, the narrative changed that quick, and I've noticed that. You know what I mean? So be very, very careful right now. There is definitely a lot of extreme greed. And you know how we talked about in the markets. Ideally, I don't like when the markets are like this because they're a little bit more difficult to go ahead and trade. And this is actually one of my first times trading the markets on leverage with this kind of difficulty in the market. It's completely different, as I mentioned, from where it was back in October. It's definitely more of a manipulation that's going on. One day crypto's up, one day crypto's down. It's dude, fucking make up your mind. What are we gonna do? Is Bitcoin going to be bullish or is it going to be bearish, right? And right now, ideally, I would like to go ahead and see the market take have a little bit of a cool off period. That way, so we could go ahead and come back to a stabilized market. I think right now the market's all over the place, and this is really a market to make a lot of money, but a market to go ahead and get wrecked, just like I did myself, right? So just be very, very careful. I hope moving forward we could go ahead and learn from each other, and most importantly, learn from each other's mistakes, right? So market overall looks like it's pumping today on a Sunday, so not too bad. We're going to go ahead and see how this week starts. Looking at the fear and greed, we do see that right now we are currently at greed at 66. Yesterday we were at 69, and last week we were at 73 with the greed, and last month we were neutral. So do you see how quick we literally changed in the market? Literally within almost a snap of fingers, that the market just flipped over from neutral to bearish to freaking greed, insane greed these last couple days. And usually when we start approaching these greed territories, it's a very interesting time in the market to go ahead and trade, because as I mentioned, one day you wake up, everything's bullish, everything's pumping, and the next day everything's dumping, or the next couple hours it's you can't make none of this shit up. So just be extremely careful moving forward. Let's go ahead and see. Smash that like button for me. Suave, how's it going, bro? Bro, you lost 20K. Yeah, I lost 20K on Grok. So I'm about to start all over from my portfolio, all over from ground zero. But I do see 7 of you watching currently right now. Go ahead and smash that like button for me. That really does help support the channel, especially now that I lost that 20,000. Smashing the like button for me does and will support me. We're very close to getting monetized on YouTube. I think we will go ahead and achieve that goal by the end of the month. So definitely go ahead and help me out by just smashing the like button, completely free, and smashing the subscribe button as well. It does not cost you not even 1 penny. So as I mentioned, let's go ahead and get back in action with this. But I'm feeling really motivated. You know, I'm feeling really motivated back in the market. I mean, it is what it is. It is kind of hitting me a little bit now, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm on to my next challenges, and I'm ready to go ahead and continue this grind. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually more motivated than ever. So let's go ahead and get into it. Looking at Pepe 2.0, it's looking really good. We do see that we did actually stabilize a side of support, which is around the 431 area, and as I mentioned, this area of resistance is the 7979. So let's just say ideally 8, because I did see it go as high as 8.3, I think, on MEXC. Obviously on MEXC it's always going to go a little bit higher because of liquidations and stop losses, but I do think that as soon as we do go ahead and break through this really nicely and we approach the 40 million market cap, which I mentioned is a very psychological area of resistance, once we break through that 40 million, I do believe Pepe 2.0 will be taking off. So definitely go ahead and be keeping your eyes on Pepe 2.0. We could go ahead and see a pump of 162% ideally, but I do think that as soon as we break 40 million market cap plus 100 million market cap, will go ahead and be around the corner, especially if we continue with this kind of momentum in the market being somewhat bullish. For me personally, I definitely do want to go ahead and see the market stabilize. So if we were going to go ahead and dump, I want the dumps to go ahead and happen as soon as possible in order for this market to go ahead and correct itself, because trading these markets during these times where it just continues to go up and doesn't really find a support, it's a higher chance of all of us getting wrecked. So ideally, I would like to go ahead and see some sort of market correction soon, an actual real one, not one when a couple hours it dumps and then the next couple hours it pumps. Like, that's just pure bullshit. But I want to see an actual real correction where we go ahead and see some of these tokens take a little breather, you know, a 20% dump or whatever the case is, finalize, look for that area of support so we could go ahead and continue to look for these entries to go ahead and trade. Because I think right now we're getting into those very, very risky territories where we're getting closer to these resistance, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us to go ahead and trade these without getting wrecked too much, right? So ideally, I would like to go ahead and see the market stabilize a little bit, or at least give us that sign that we're like, you know what, we're in a bull run. Let's go ahead and continue. But right now, it's all over the place. People don't know whether we're in a bull run, we're in a bear market. A lot of people are getting wrecked, as I mentioned. So it's really like all over the table. And the what is the word? Not the trust. I can't remember the term I was going to go ahead and use. The confidence, there you go. The confidence in the market right now is a little shaky. And we're seeing that all across the board. You know, we're seeing a lot of, like, even Grok with the FUD that was going on. Like, it's a lot of bullshit, right? So just be very, very careful. But I do think Pepe 2.0 is going to be a good one to go ahead and continue to trade. You know, learning from my mistakes, I really wish I would have just stuck to, you know, Pepe 2.0 and not touch any other token, because I really understand how, you know, Pepe 2.0 moves. But it is what it is, right? So if you are looking to go ahead and enter some trade setups, I would say focus on Pepe 2.0. This thing's like literally like so obvious to go ahead and make some money, but we are also approaching some very critical areas of resistance. So let's go ahead and look at what we're looking at the 30-minute chart, and then let's go ahead and analyze it from there. Jonathan says, I'm curious if they will manipulate the market to Black Friday. They did in 2017. How was it in 2017, man? I can't remember the 2017 market. I was in crypto, but I wasn't like the way I am now. Like, I knew of crypto, I understood crypto, but I really got into crypto in 2017, like around the beginning of January, February, March. And I was getting into like these BS like cloud mining companies that offer you like ridiculous like freaking returns on your money. So I don't remember what that looks like. Suave says, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, man, it kind of sucks, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. There's nothing I could go ahead and do about it, but just move forward. I could go ahead and say that for myself. I did enter an area of greed, and I'm sure a lot of people are entering an area of greed on both sides, both the bearish and the bullish scenarios. So just be very, very careful right now, and remember where we're at in the market. I think we're at a very risky territory. And I wouldn't hold on to a lot of these positions no more than a day. I mean, like I mentioned, literally my Grok position, I held it for a day, and I literally just switched like this on me. Like if I would have sold, I would have still, would have still had money to go ahead and trade with. So just be very, very careful. I think there's going to be a lot of fudders out there, a lot of, people trying to go ahead and buy the dips and manipulate the market a little bit more than usual. So just be very, very careful right now when it comes to a lot of these trades. Take profits. If you're up a couple grand, a couple $100, just take your profits and just wait for the market to go ahead and show you a sign to re-enter once again, right? So looking at Pepe 2.0 at the 1 hourly, we do see that we do have a strong area of support right here around the 6 to the 7 zone, and this is actually the same exact area that we had back over here back when we made these new all-time highs. So it looks like we are getting ready to squeeze up to the upside. So Pepe 2.0 is looking extremely bullish in my opinion. If you could go ahead and enter a position on a regular, like, spot exchange or whatever the case is, then buying right now would be pretty good. Obviously not financial advice, but if you're looking to go ahead and enter a trade on MEXC, I would say try to not to use no more than you go ahead and use 20x leverage, but just make sure you have money to the side, right? Because if you're trading with a small account with less than $1,000, it gets very, very difficult right now during this time of the market. Like I even saw this one guy on Twitter that literally posted that he made over like $33,000 off of $100 using like 50x leverage, but he entered his position back in June, right? And that's something that, in my opinion, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's very, 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 very difficult to achieve nowadays, especially right now with this whole entire market manipulation and everything that we're seeing. I guess I didn't retweet it, but for anybody that wants to go ahead and reach out to me on Twitter, reach out to me at ALTCOIN John, and feel free to go ahead and message me and DM me. But yeah, so there's this guy that also mentioned that he put in $100 into this one position, 50x leverage back in June, and actually made over $33,000, held on to his position for 6 months, and he finally closed his position, right? So it kind of tells you, like, why would he go ahead and close his position? I'm kind of telling you how, like, back then it was a lot easier to go ahead and enter a lot of these trades. It was a lot easier for you to go ahead and actually have these breakouts follow through, unlike right now. I feel like you see a breakout and you're more than likely going to go ahead and get wrecked. Like it might be like freaking the bullish flag or a cup and handle pattern or a W pattern or double bottom, whatever you want to call it, and you're going to get wrecked because there's more manipulation going on right now since there's more interest into crypto. So it just kind of tells you overall how the market's getting to. Seems like more people are just trading this market in and out instead of holding on to. Ideally, when you want to make a boatload of money into the markets, you want to jump in when no one's really talking about it. I mean, we got into Pepe 2.0 at around 2 million market cap, and I was using 20x leverage at the time, so it was really, really easy to go ahead and grow my account. I mean, I jumped in around over here, 20x leverage, rode the wave, and then as I started to notice volatility was going up, I started minimizing my leverage down to 10x, to 5x, to 6x. So it just kind of tells you that the markets do change quickly. So because you're trading the markets over here, it's completely different when you start getting all that volatility and all that manipulation. And that's something I did not know, right? I thought it was all the same. I didn't know that. So lesson learned on my end, and definitely for the next kind of cycle that we have, I'm going to understand these markets a little bit more. When there's less risk, that's when you want to go ahead and go a little bit more all in. You want to use a crazy x freaking 50x plus leverage without getting wrecked. And then when risk on turns on, that's when you want to go ahead and be a little careful, because that means more people are willing to go ahead and take on that risk. And with more risk people are willing to go ahead and take, the more greed on the both, the bullish and the bearish scenarios, which means you're going to see a lot of pumps to the upside and to the downside, right? So for that reason, I learned something new. I didn't know the markets changed that freaking quick. I didn't know, a month would have been a whole different trading, literally volatility. I didn't know any of this shit. I didn't know it would have changed that quick. Like literally the market changed so fast that it was freaking crazy. And if you've been trading futures, maybe you understand. You're like, oh shit, like I knew there were cycles like this, but I didn't. You know what I mean? I didn't know there were cycles that changed this quick, where like, your trading strategy that was really doing really good for you last month is not going to go ahead and be validated the month moving forward, where more crypto awareness and more bullishness and more volatility and more greed starts to go ahead and come in. And it completely makes sense, right? So definitely a lesson learned on my end. Happy, how's it going? Thank you. Glad to go ahead and have all you here. Thank you, Soul. Go ahead and smash that like button for me. Currently only 7 likes and only 11 of you are currently watching right now, so go ahead and do me a huge favor by smashing the like button for me. But yeah, overall, with Pepe 2.0 does look extremely bullish. I mean, everything just is lining up perfectly. Just be very careful, as I mentioned. Make sure to take profits. But I do believe that Pepe 2.0, as soon as we break that 40 million market cap, we are definitely going to go ahead and see volatility even come in even more people getting wrecked, pushing the price action up even higher, and we could potentially go ahead and see us hitting that 100 million market cap this time, because last time we hit 95 million, right? This time I do believe we could go ahead and hit that 100 million market cap. So that's it with pretty much with Pepe 2.0. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin and see how Bitcoin's doing overall. I mean, Bitcoin overall is not doing too bad. We are in the RSI a little bit oversold or overbought, and we are kind of coming down, cooling down. But overall, you know, the RSI does give us a sign that there is definitely some strength in the market. I mean, Bitcoin's still holding on pretty nicely. For me personally, I'm just not going to go ahead and trade Bitcoin. These are like levels for me, I just don't feel comfortable trading. So I'll definitely just go ahead and analyze them and, you know, take advantage of the momentum that it's going to come up with, you know, with all the talks with the ETF and all this other BS. So with Bitcoin, it's looking pretty good. Nothing too crazy in my opinion. As I mentioned, long-term, short-term, whatever you want to call it, I do believe Bitcoin's going to approach $40,000 and above. And I think that's really when we're going to go ahead and have even more of a bullish momentum coming in. So just definitely go ahead and prepare yourself. And just be patient with what the market's going to bring us, right? Because I definitely did over trade a little bit, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to make money back in the market, right? So don't rush it, don't FOMO, don't panic. There's going to be a lot of opportunities in the market, but there's also going to be a lot of FUD in the market to go ahead and shake out a lot of people and wreck people out of their positions before, you know, there's another massive pump. So it does definitely give us some sort of indicator that there could be a possibility of another higher pump due to the fact that we are seeing a lot of this volatility in the markets at the moment. Looking at the DXY right now, looking at the daily, let's go ahead and see how we finished up, because I didn't even see how the DXY finished up on Friday, and we actually finished up. We got rejected at around the area that I mentioned. You know, I was expecting it to go ahead and touch at least 104.674. We actually did get rejected down to that area, down to the 103.815. So it's looking pretty good right now at the moment. And if we do go ahead and approach these levels of the 102.991, we are definitely going to be looking good. So right now we are at the 103.815 on the DXY. So I think as long as we continue to approach these areas right here, we're going to be extremely bullish moving forward. And it's a bullish sign for the market. So everything's looking good. You know, everything's aligning. Just be very patient. I know a lot of people lost money on Grok, but I do think there could be some sort of, you know, momentum coming back up on the market. So just be very careful. But overall, the markets are looking good. DXY is looking good. Bitcoin's looking good. The whole overall markets are looking good. There's really nothing to go ahead and be panicking about, in my opinion. I think everything looks good. Yeah, there's really nothing. Just be very careful right now during these times in the market. That's pretty much it on my end. I did just want to go ahead and make this quick little live stream and just talk about the overall market. As I mentioned, coming back this week, I will be back on the grind. So you could go ahead and be expecting a lot of these live streams more often, a lot of these videos coming back often. So really excited to go ahead and get back home and finally get back on the grind. As I mentioned, everything's literally aligning to us. Like literally everything's aligning to us. So just be very careful and just be extremely this is a good time to be in the market. That's all I really have to go ahead and say. And I really appreciate all of you for all the words you all have to go ahead and say. I really do appreciate you. And as always, go ahead and support the channel by using my MEXC link down below. $20,000 in sign-up bonuses, no KYC, and literally takes less than 3 seconds to create an account. Go ahead and use my MEXC link down below.